When Rachel agreed to pose as her twin sister, she never imagined how complicated the situation would become. What started as a small lie quickly spiraled out of control, and now she found herself facing the only possible option: to reveal the truth. However, this revelation would bring unexpected consequences, capable of changing everything around her. Hello, my friends. I am Linda, and this is Linda's Love Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. Ruth was known for her relentless competence and uncompromising stance at work. As the marketing manager of a large company, she ran her department with an iron fist, achieving impressive results but garnering little sympathy among colleagues and subordinates. Her dedication to work was total, leaving little room for personal relationships in the professional environment. In contrast, her identical twin sister Rachel led a more modest life as an art teacher at a local school. Shy and insecure, Rachel had always lived in the shadow of her more assertive sister, feeling diminished by the inevitable comparison between the two. Since childhood, Ruth had naturally taken on the role of leader of the duo, with her strong and confident personality, while Rachel was content to follow in her sister's footsteps. One weekend, Ruth called Rachel with an unusual request. Her voice sounded anxious on the other end of the line. "Rachel, I really need your help. An important commitment at work came up that I can't refuse, but I already had another event scheduled for the same day. Could you replace me at the company event?" Rachel hesitated, surprised by the request. "But Ruth, how could I pass for you? People will notice." "Don't worry," Ruth interrupted. "It's just a day of volunteer work in an underprivileged neighborhood. No one from the office knows me well enough to notice the difference. You just need to let your hair down, maintain a more confident posture, and act like I would. Everything will be fine." Reluctantly, Rachel ended up giving in to her sister's insistence. She had never known how to say no to Ruth, a dynamic established since childhood. On the appointed day, Rachel arrived at the event location feeling uncomfortable in her borrowed skin. To her surprise, she was met only with formal and distant greetings, without anyone seeming to suspect the switch. The volunteer work consisted of renovating and maintaining community schools. Rachel soon found herself absorbed in the activities, especially when she had the opportunity to paint a mural on one of the walls. Her artistic talent flourished naturally, attracting the attention of a man who approached her with a friendly smile. "I didn't know you drew so well, Ruth," he commented, admiring Rachel's work. For a moment, she almost forgot her role. "Oh, thank you. It's one of my hobbies. I love painting and teaching and—" She abruptly stopped herself, remembering that she should be playing the part of Ruth, the executive, and not Rachel, the art teacher. The man introduced himself. "You probably don't remember my name. I'm Ryan, the manager of the sales department. I wanted to say that I found your solution for the project of that big client during the last meeting spectacular. Truly admirable." Rachel felt her face blush from the unexpected compliment. She muttered a vague thanks, fearing she would betray herself if she went into details about a project she knew nothing about. Throughout the day, Rachel and Ryan worked side by side, talking about a variety of subjects: music, books, travel, cuisine. The conversation flowed naturally, revealing common interests and a surprising rapport. Rachel was amazed at the ease of interaction, so different from her usual shyness. As the sun began to set, signaling the end of the day's activities, Ryan turned to Rachel with a warm smile. "Ruth, it was a pleasure working with you today. I have to admit, everyone in the company is a bit afraid of you because of your serious and strict demeanour. But the truth is, you hide a kind and fun person behind that facade. Could I have your phone number? Maybe we could go out sometime." Rachel's heart raced. She knew she should refuse, explain the misunderstanding, but something held her back. Maybe it was Ryan's warm gaze, or the connection she felt she had formed with him throughout the day. Before she could stop herself, she found herself giving him her own phone number. "Ryan, could I ask you a favour?" she added. "At the company, could you treat me with the same professionalism as always? I wouldn't want people to think I'm not focused on work." "Of course, Ruth," Ryan replied with an understanding smile. "Don't worry, I know how to separate things." That night, when recounting the events to Ruth, Rachel omitted the details about Ryan, simply saying that everything had gone well. In the days that followed, she and Ryan exchanged frequent messages, deepening the connection they had established. Rachel, however, continued to maintain the charade of being Ruth, fearing that Ryan would not admire her if he knew she was just an art teacher and not a sophisticated marketing manager. At the company, Ryan kept his promise to maintain a strictly professional relationship with the real Ruth. Occasionally, he greeted her with a warmer smile or discreetly left a chocolate on her desk. Ruth, unaware of the relationship developing between Ryan and her sister, found these small, unexpected kindnesses intriguing and somewhat unsettling. After a few weeks of messaging conversations, Rachel and Ryan scheduled a dinner. Rachel arrived at the restaurant determined to reveal the truth, but her resolve wavered when Ryan started praising another one of Ruth's projects at the company. Rachel's insecurity spoke louder, and she missed yet another opportunity to be honest. The night ended with a passionate kiss, further deepening the involvement based on a false identity. The next day, fate conspired to expose the deception. At the end of the workday, Ruth's fiancé appeared to pick her up from work, greeting her with a loving kiss at the building's reception. Ryan, who was passing by at that moment, witnessed the scene with disbelief and indignation. Unable to contain his outrage, Ryan confronted the couple right there. Ruth, completely confused, vehemently denied being in a relationship with Ryan. Ruth's fiancé watched the scene, equally perplexed. Ryan, in turn, showed the exchanged messages on his phone as proof of the relationship he believed he had with Ruth. The situation reached a critical point when Ruth, examining the messages, recognized her sister Rachel's phone number. At that moment, all the pieces of the puzzle fit together in her mind. With a mix of anger and disappointment, Ruth called Rachel, demanding her immediate presence. Rachel arrived at the location feeling the weight of her lie. The group headed to a nearby cafe, where Ruth and her fiancé left Ryan and Rachel alone so they could talk. With a heavy heart, Rachel finally revealed the whole truth. "Ryan, I'm so sorry. I am not Ruth. I am Rachel, her twin sister," she began, her voice trembling. "It all started with Ruth asking me to stand in for her on that day of volunteer work. I never imagined things would go this far." Rachel tried to explain her reasons, the fear of not being enough, the insecurity that Ryan was only interested in her due to the professional success she believed she had. "Only my identity was a lie," she pleaded. "Everything we shared, our conversations, our feelings, all of that was real." Ryan listened in silence, his face a mask of disappointment and hurt. When Rachel finally fell silent, he spoke in a controlled voice, but one laden with emotion. "A lie makes all truths doubtful. I will never forgive you for this." With these words, he stood up and left the cafe, leaving Rachel devastated and alone with the weight of her actions. In the weeks that followed, Rachel tried incessantly to contact Ryan. She sent text messages, emails, and even letters, expressing her deep regret and asking for a chance to explain herself better. Ryan's silence was deafening, increasing the feelings of guilt and the pain of loss with each passing day. Rachel found herself reflecting on the consequences of her actions, not just in relation to Ryan, but also on the impact on her relationship with Ruth. Her sister, although understanding of the pressure she had placed on Rachel by asking her to step in, was deeply hurt by the extent of the lie. The incident had created a rift in the trust between the sisters, something Rachel feared might never be fully repaired. It was nearly a month after the confrontation at the cafe when Rachel's phone rang, displaying the name she had longed to see: Ryan. With her heart racing, she answered, barely daring to believe that he had finally decided to speak with her. "Rachel?" Ryan's voice sounded tired but not hostile. "I think we need to talk. Could you meet me at the park near your school tomorrow after classes?" Rachel agreed immediately, feeling a mix of relief and apprehension. The next day, she arrived at the park well before the agreed time, her anxiety palpable. When Ryan appeared, he seemed more serene than on the day of the revelation, though there was still a shadow of hurt in his eyes. They walked in silence for a few minutes before Ryan finally spoke. "In these last few weeks, I have thought a lot," he began, his voice calm and thoughtful. "I saw your sister at the company every day. She looks exactly like you physically, but she was also diametrically different in every other aspect. That was when I realized something important." Rachel looked at him, barely breathing, waiting for him to continue. "I realized that what I had really fallen in love with was never the elegant and confident demeanor, nor the professional success. It was the kindness, the creativity, the joy I found in you, Rachel. Those qualities were real, regardless of the name or position you held." Ryan's words ignited a flame of hope in Rachel's chest. She felt tears forming in her eyes, but she held them back, waiting for Ryan to finish. "I'm not going to say it was easy to overcome the feeling of betrayal," he continued. "But the more I thought about it, the more I understood that the person I fell in love with was real. It was you, Rachel, not an imaginary version of Ruth." Rachel couldn't hold back a sob of relief and gratitude. Ryan looked her in the eyes, a small smile forming on his lips. "Just promise me one thing," he said, his voice now lighter. "There aren't any other secrets, right? No other hidden sister or secret identity like a superhero, perhaps?" Rachel laughed through her tears, feeling as though a huge weight had been lifted from her shoulders. "I promise, Ryan. From now on, only the truth. It's just me, Rachel, the art teacher who accidentally fell in love with you while pretending to be someone else." Ryan reached out his hand, intertwining his fingers with Rachel's. "I think we can start over from here, then. How about a coffee? This time I want to get to know the real Rachel, with all her insecurities, dreams, and talents." As they walked together towards a nearby cafe, Rachel felt a deep gratitude for the second chance she was receiving. She knew there was still much to mend, especially in her relationship with Ruth. But Ryan's forgiveness gave her hope that, with honesty and effort, it was possible to overcome even the most difficult mistakes. The experience had taught her a valuable lesson. There is no lie that time does not reveal, and the truth, no matter how hard it is to tell, is always the safest path. Rachel was determined to live this lesson from then on, and it was so liberating to be herself. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with a number from 1 to 5 to let us know how much you liked the story. Also, watch the video that is currently on your screen. See you soon.